What's up, everybody out there in 420 land? This is the co-host of Two Stone Dudes podcast, Ryan Castle. The Anchor app is where I got my start, and it's been amazing being a podcast host so far because of Anchor. Let me explain. It's the easiest way to make a podcast for free. That's right, it's free. Anchor then distributes your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. And I won't forget about the creation tools that allow you to edit your podcast from your phone or your PC. And you can get paid with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make your very own podcast. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm.
Talking about.
We can keep. Why don't you start off again?
Oh, whatever. Welcome to the Two Stone Dude podcast. This is your co-host Ryan Castle with
Brandon Levine
and
Mondo Homunculero.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing back-to-back podcasts, and right now, myself, Rob, and Mondo are talking about. We're going to cover male toxicity. We're going to talk about male confidence, and there was a third one.
Relationship?
Oh, let's just start off with those two because I'm kind of stoned right now. So I mean,
for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So let's start off with those two. First off, the word male toxicity shouldn't even be a fucking word to me. I'm sorry. I don't like the way it's portrayed in the media. I don't like the way it's tried to pussify men to a degree that is astounding to me. When you say that being an outdoorsman and being a hunter is part of male toxicity, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. When you say that a guy who's doing MMA is a barbarian and that doesn't make him a man, you're trying to strip away the title of him being a man right there and there. And that's fucking horrible to do. Like, why is this nuance of this man bun wearing people coming out with ideas that are clearly they're trying to be forced upon people. Their ideas are trying to be forced.
Hipsters.
Right. I get it. The woke generation, like
yeah. Hey.
I actually, you know what? I don't get it, and I actually wear that as a badge of honor. Okay. I don't want to get it because it's a shitty fucking way to live. I'm sorry. I don't appreciate a culture of people that go around criticizing others and try to take away their First Amendment rights. That's just how I feel.
Londa? I'm all for free expression of anything and everything as long as it doesn't harm me or others.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's where I'm at. Some of this stuff used to be real offensive to me, like the identity politics bullshit and the cancel culture bullshit. And I used to let that get to me. But what I realized about that and about my reaction to it, because it wasn't a response, it was a reaction. What I realized about that was it was about me playing victim and the other people playing victim and me perpetrating, because, I always confront them, right? Me perpetrating and then feeling like a victim because I might have been outnumbered.
Sounds like the script was flipped on you.
Well, that's it. It was the other thing was the first premise was wrong. Let people express what they think and what they feel and leave them alone. Unless they say, I want feedback. If the person says they want, or if they're, they don't tell you in context if they want feedback, that's different. But when they're just throwing their story out there, that way I get to know what other people think,
Right.
Which is important to me. But anyhow, yeah, it was like I used to worry about the pronoun thing, he, she.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the easy way out for me on that is to use their name.
Right.
Instead of he said, Bob said, or Roberta said, or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And that's your gender, but not. Bob might be a girl who gender identifies sexually as a male. I don't care what she is.
Right.
Or what she does. As long as she's not fucking up my life, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Right.
They're intoxicating in no shape, way, or form in your life. So.
It's like our guest said last night, Bill Hill. When you get high, or if you had gotten high a lot, you get to that state, which is everybody's just people.
We're all one.
And we all one because everybody just does what they do.
Right.
When you get to that point in life, after you take a hit of marijuana,
stop.
And then you go to the Jerry Springer episode where there's the dude who's smokes weed all the time and he's cheating on his girlfriend, right? And they confront him. He says, "I just do what I do because that's what I do," and it's right.
A lot of people don't understand that.
I do.
People are people, man. People. Look, man. People are going to do their job. They're going to be who they are.
yeah, but
And you can't expect them to be anything else. Look, I got a person in my life who I care about deeply. And sometimes he's a fucking moron. And sometimes I want to strangle him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I love him. Because he is who he is. And I can't ask him to be anybody different than who he is.
But you can comment.
What do you mean I can comment?
Or you can suggest.
No. I just let him be because it's like he's a hard-headed person.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, he's a hard-headed person, first off. That's just already
the map is not the territory.
Right.
The map is not the territory. People do shit they don't want to do until they find out this is not the action they want to take.
Right.
Because they're not getting the result that they were wanting, right?
Right.
So, and they'll tell you if that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I know that from, doing therapy, giving them NLP therapy about their beliefs. It usually boils down to some belief that they have from that point of view, from that perspective. But anyways, the people, I think people are nothing. I think you just are action. I think everything is action. I don't think there's any being. See, I believe that for a long time, but it's more of a Buddhist perspective. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I don't go into the cult of self. Okay,
right.
There is no self.
I gotta go half on it. Some of it could be an excuse.
What's that?
Just to be the way that person is. Some of it could be.
Well, somebody, the biggest thing my biggest pet peeve is when people go, "Oh, I'm real." No, that's an excuse for you to be an asshole.
Again, an excuse.
That's right.
Right.
That is
somebody's excuse to be an asshole.
Yeah, and some people.
I have stepdad that was
really
like that.
Shows, but then they're blindsided themselves, believing that's who they are when it's actually an excuse.
It's really tough because sometimes
they don't want to hear it either.
Sometimes we have to work with that person in some way. We didn't know that about the person until we began to work with them.
Yeah.
And so the usual thing is to see the bear behind the bush before, right? And then you just pass up on the opportunity.
Right.
Because there's other good opportunities around. We don't have to go through that with each other. And maybe that person would be good for you, but not for me. And that's okay too. That's just the way I look at it. But I have attempted and worked on getting to that stage with myself to where I see that this person and I are not going to match up.
All right. Should we be in agreement that the phrase male toxicity shouldn't even be in the English language?
I think people are going to call it that. If they
shouldn't even be a thing, though, to me. To me, do you feel it shouldn't be a thing?
Okay. Where does that come from? Okay. Male toxicity comes from that old concept of male chauvinism.
Correct.
That's where it comes from.
And it stretches.
Right. And then what happens is somebody who's claiming that about this male toxicity term, and what that means is that their actions cause people harm, emotionally or psychologically or physically.
Right.
Those are okay.
It should just be called toxicity. It should be called male toxicity. Just because
I think if you go,
there's also male and there's also female in toxicity.
No, don't ever tell a female that there's
You know what I
female
call-
toxicity. She will lose her mind. You ever try to call a woman crazy to her face? She will rip your fucking head off.
I go with.
Did she almost kill you?
No.
Liar.
I go with the
She did
old
not.
school psychological terminology: physical abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse.
Hurt people.
No
hurt
gender, no, because everybody does
Right.
it.
People hurt people, man.
Boom.
All the time.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It does.
Hurt people hurt people.
You ever listen to Eckhart Tolle?
No. Who is it? Talk to
You know,
us.
okay, so Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, I don't remember how you say his last name.
Okay.
He's like an Austrian dude who is like the guru for the West. He's the guru now, or has been. He's got the concept, everyone is one. We're all connected. And then there's all this abusive kind of poison that's out there.
Yeah.
And our job is to be in the now so we see this and we don't have to participate in it. So that we do what's loving and kind, right, and appropriate.
Right.
But it's not Christian. It's not religion.
Right.
Sorry, I'm getting text.
It's a code of behavior. It's a behavior, but it comes from a place of the spirituality of the oneness of everything.
Man, this sounds so cliche, but what would happen if everybody turned off their TVs and their phones for a week?
I've done it for a month. at a time.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Did you ever just give up on social media?
Okay. Of course. For
Really?
a month. I did a whole month.
Wow. Okay.
And it was part of a program I was
Do it on purpose?
Yeah, it was part of a program.
Okay.
It was a training that I went through.
Okay.
And what it was 6 days a week. No internet, no texting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only phone and email were strictly for business.
I believe
wow.
we grew up in a world that was.
Oh, yeah. We
So
grew up
I
without
think
the
it's
internet.
a little easier
at
for
first.
us to go take a step back.
I grew
and
up
not
with-
use
Yeah, you grew
technology.
up without fucking a color TV.
I grew up without, No, I had color TV.
Did you?
In 1960, my dad bought the first RCA color
Oh my!
TV.
You were rich. I forgot.
Dad was a millionaire. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very stressed. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But, there was no internet. There was really phone calls you had to do on the landline.
Right. You had the fucking rotary dial back in your day.
We did. When
Holy
Touchstone
shit.
came out, that was like fucking coming in the pants. Communication. Man, I can punch this bitch in.
There's probably
Right.
people right now listening to this have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
There weren't.
Actually, no, we don't have a lot of kids listening to this.
Well,
The big
It's people our
innovation
age.
was
The only-
cassette tapes
I'm
in
sorry, the only
1960.
cell phone that wasn't stolen
Yeah.
was the one that was attached to that fucking car battery.
Yeah.
Right. Mondo, what did you say about the cassette?
Okay, so let's take it to the level of electronic appliance.
Okay.
And mainly it was still vinyl. And then cassettes came out in about 69.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got my first car. So I had this Ampeg cassette player that weighed about 1 million pounds. Anyway, yeah, it was really good cassette. Anyway, but there were no cassettes. There's maybe 10 albums on cassette. Okay,
Oh, wow.
and this is like 1969, 1970, 1971. And then it started to expand.
Did you have an 8-track?
Of course. I had I
Nice.
had a 2-track.
What the hell's a 2-track?
Just 2 tracks.
Did you have a beta?
No, I didn't have a Betamax.
You never had a Betamax?
No, well, a friend of mine did, but I had.
I watched
VHS.
a couple of porn on Betamax.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Betamax was.
And this is
actually-
where we get Two Stone Dudes podcast.
You know what was?
I just made a dick joke.
Do you know? You know what was also good was Laserdisc was excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, that and everything was vinyl. And you know what? I hate vinyl. I always hated vinyl. You know why? Because you can't keep the dust off of it. 1, 2, you wear it out. 3, you have to have very good equipment to get the fidelity that everybody brags about.
Right.
4, digital had the fidelity I wanted. Fuck it.
Huh.
Takes up too much space. I mean, I got 1,000 vinyl albums in the other room.
Remember that thick? Was it that? It was a very soft vinyl brush that used to come with it. It was a set.
Yeah, sure. I had several.
And they
of those.
came in different styles.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
All right.
They were nice though.
We went way off topic of male toxicity.
Okay.
But,
So
Hey,
but I think we can
plays
just,
a role in technology.
Let's close the
You mentioned
loop.
it.
all right. So on male toxicity,
Uh-huh.
once again,
It's evil.
I feel like it shouldn't be a thing. whoever made it up, I feel like, Rob, you said it best. It sounds like an excuse to me.
A lot of things can be. That's why I say it's 50-50.
I find it to be an excuse for people to be weak.
Well, they feel like a victim, so they come up with new victim terminology.
That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear somebody say victim.
What did we say? What was
some?
So, all right, let's talk about male confidence next. Okay? We're all stellar-looking dudes, all right? Mondo's got a grip of girlfriends. Rob's the most handsome man in the room right now. It's disgusting. Yeah.
We're all attractive.
I'm a decent-looking dude when I lose some weight. I'm kind of fat right now, so when I lose weight, I'm fucking stunning.
I tell you this: if we go to the gentleman's club right now, the first one to get the women to be Mondo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's wearing sweatpants.
Well, he's a couple bug.
He looks like he's here to spend money.
I was just going to talk about that.
They're going to pull in his little beard there.
Yeah.
One think I'm just a manager, and then you're his bouncer.
Oh, great.
One of the big insecurities that my confidence overcame was looks dependence.
Right.
I had to be slender like Rob, right? Mm-hmm. And just totally blown out, totally blown out. Like I was fat, like a body. There you go, buddy. Like a bodybuilder, right? And that was the only way I was going to look good. I was not going to look good being as overweight as I am now, right? I wasn't going to look good like that. I wasn't going to look good or weighing 100 pounds less. Well, yeah, over 100 pounds less. Mm-hmm. I had to be buff, right? With like 10% body fat. Or I was fucked. And so that was the biggest thing I overcame was it doesn't matter if I'm 100 overweight. It doesn't matter if I'm underweight. It doesn't matter if I'm buff. If I'm buff, it's because I'm digging working out.
Right.
And like the way I look in the mirror, but no less of myself than any other way. Mm-hmm. Look, I had to accept myself the way I appear all the time. I might not like it, but I have to accept it.
Right.
And I realize that most of the time I can change it. And have, just like all of us have.
You have the option.
Right? Correct.
The option is there.
Well, the lack of drugs has made me fucking fat and lazy. So, the lack of drugs. The lack of drugs has made me fat. The lack of drugs has made me fat and lazy. So,
so I got a question.
That's not a bad thing, though.
I got a question for all of us. What is it that you do, think, or say, right, which makes you feel confident about yourself?
Me?
All three of us.
About anything about me?
Yeah. What are the things
about
you, your attributes that make you confident?
I'm a good-looking guy.
One.
Yeah, I know I'm a good-looking guy. I have a great personality.
Okay.
Look at me with that. I sound so cocky.
No, that doesn't.
Oh, my God.
Keep going.
I really sound cocky, man.
No. Keep going. Keep going.
I think I have a great sense of humor. I have to, and I'll pull out a fourth thing. I accept people for who they are. And people seem to find that admirable for some reason.
Anything else?
I know how to make a person's day. And I go out of my way to do it.
What else?
Wow.
You gotta make them think.
When I put my mind into something, I accomplish it.
Well, see, that's more than a handful.
Yeah.
So there you go. And that's good.
Right. Now, is this from your training?
Even if it was only, what?
Is this from your training?
This is something that I did on the spot with you.
Okay. All right.
Because I have other versions of that we use. We're not in a training right now.
Right.
So
I like a little self-deprecation. And I do it mainly for entertainment.
Okay.
Because it entertains me, and I try to entertain everybody else around me with it.
Does it show confidence to be able to laugh at yourself? And
absolutely.
Does it?
Yeah.
And that means there's a higher part of you that is humble about the rest of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
That's my professional assessment of it.
That's cool. Thank you. Wow, we learn something every day, don't we?
Yeah, I wish I could learn more and retain. I wish I could retain shit better.
Dude, you got so much shit retained that you're starting to lose other things.
It's like one of my external mentors was William S. Burroughs, the writer. He wrote The Naked Lunch. He wrote, just tons of shit. Anyway, he was a great poet. He was a great writer. He was considered America's #1 literary talent for many years. And he had that voice, like there's like 10,000 speedballs exploding in Danny's brain. That was the Junkie Christmas, and it was done in claymation. It was wonderful.
That was good.
And William S. Burroughs, his whole thing was, man, he really, if you like conspiracy theories, he had all this broken down to like bean and bacon soup.
Really? Huh.
But it was not what most people would think of it as.
Huh.
I mean, he was.
I think we're in a simulation.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have. And that was kind of like Burroughs was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
That's where
it makes sense.
That's where some of the thinking came from.
Right.
With those ideas.
Oh, really? For like the movie? For like the Matrix?
Way before that. William S. Burroughs died when he was about 80.
Oh, okay.
And that was about 20 years ago.
Wow.
And you just look him up sometime.
Okay.
There's a story I always like to, because one of my mentors he was a friend of William's, and he had William read the first line of Cities of the Red Night, which it talks about all these gods of death.
You get way excited when you talk about this stuff, man. You really do.
People would call me a black magician, but I'm not. I'm gray.
Okay. I don't know
I'm
what that
gray.
means.
I'm gray.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. But anyway.
And you've taught classes on confidence before.
Yes.
Okay. How was your experience with that? How do you feel that
Okay.
how does it feel to know that you reached a bunch of people and helped
when
them?
this was male, okay. We also did some stuff with female. Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah. We did some stuff with women as well. Mixed, in a mixed crowd.
Right.
My main experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to stop. Sorry to interrupt you. We have to stop real quick and take a commercial break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome back to the next segment. And Mondo, sorry to interrupt you about that. We had to turn over. So please continue.
Okay, to pick up the thread, hopefully, the guys that stayed with us when we did all male trainings, every one of them, if they stuck with it, because it usually was 4 to 6 sessions, if they stuck with it to at least 4 sessions, there were some guys that didn't need it. They came in and go, "This is great, but I don't need it. I'm already there."
Wow.
And we were like, right on, share with us real quick. And that would be the only time we would see them. And the other guys would learn from it, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but it wasn't much about sharing as it was changing beliefs.
Right.
Much more about NLP. It was NLP.
Okay.
So my experience with the male guys who stuck with it, they all retained a great deal of confidence. Every one of them went on to do, because they found what their purpose was. And whether it was with women or in business or home and business and women or everything together, their own gamish, they all took away something and bragged about the training. The problem was there were other principles involved that didn't know how to monetize it like I do. But I didn't want to do that for free.
Right.
Because it's a lot of work, one. Two, it's what I do every day. And I was doing this for the art of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, people took stuff away. They bragged about it. They went on, took other trainings, grew more.
Nice.
And that's the whole point. So that my experience with that was I had gained my confidence for the most part before that. And then participating as a trainer, I also got trained.
Right.
And great reward.
Nice.
Great.
I wonder what about my confidence sometimes when it comes to certain things. I can get shook up sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I'll revisit that situation like, why did I act like that? Why didn't I just turn around and say this? I get myself caught in situations like that. And it's not I wouldn't say it was ever out of cowardice. I would say more out of caution than anything else. Like when I've had an older person reprimand me, I don't have that sudden urge, even though I'm a grown adult, to go, wait a minute, fuck you.
Yeah.
I sit and I let them get their shit out on me, and then I go, all right, thanks a lot, and I walk away.
You just express yourself, yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's ingrained in me that I'm to respect my elders to the point where I have to like back down from them and let them get their say out, or is it because I feel that it's really not worth my fucking time or effort to get in a confrontation with this person, so I should just fucking remove myself from the situation?
Okay. And that could be even harder to do.
Not really.
No?
No.
I mean, if it's constant.
No.
No?
Well,
that's good then.
Dude, I have left women with them kicking and screaming in the behind me, holding on to my ankles, telling me not to leave because I'm an asshole, but they don't like it when I fucking leave, apparently. Okay. I had to literally pick a woman up and remove her from the door.
Okay.
Right.
When I first got to Narcotics Anonymous, this girl I was dating, Renee, my sponsor and his wife had to come over because she first off, she threw herself in front of the door. I had to get her out of the door. Then she took my stuff and dumped it on the middle of 51st Avenue. I was living right down the street from Crash at the time.
Was that chick in the program?
No, she's a normie.
You should never.
But she had
someone in the program.
No. I did. I got married to somebody in the program.
We've all done that.
Yeah. How do you know that rule?
Huh?
How do you know? That's like the unspoken
That's
rule.
an interesting thing. Yeah.
I went to meetings, and I went to the ones where there's only elderly people.
You want to know what made me date my wife? DJ. Because he said something really creepy about her. And I didn't want to get his mitts on her.
And you were attracted to that.
I was.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to date her.
This guy.
And I didn't want him to get his mitts on her.
Well, first of all, he never was going to because,
she would.
I was friends.
No, she might have.
I was good friends with Sky then. And she used to tell me all kinds of shit.
She might have fucked him.
90% of which I haven't repeated nor remembered to repeat.
Oh,
no, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, no, you forget shit on purpose because people are just, women especially, are like,
right.
When you get to be friends with a woman, and you have to let her do it if you want to be friends with her, usually.
Right.
Unless you're going to go out, and play. And
there's
play
a
pool.
person who's got some confidence right there.
Who?
My soon-to-be ex-wife. She's got some confidence.
With her, it's more. Do you want my opinion?
She's got a set of balls on her.
She does, but it's more.
Not literally. So, Rob, don't you even look at that.
I wasn't even thinking that.
Yes, you were.
You know what? Sky is smart, but she's also a dumb fuck.
Don't mention her name.
I'm thinking she has no choice. She has no choice in this point. It's just sign the paperwork and let it be.
All right, let's not air my dirty laundry.
I'm just saying.
Thank you. I appreciate
it's prolonged for so
goddamn
long.
Candid shit.
There's a whole bunch of reasons you're not together, and you don't have to talk about it.
And it's intoxicating. As long
let me put it like this to our listeners: if I don't like you,
it's gotta go.
You're an asshole. And people are more than likely, I'm not the only one that doesn't like you. There's probably a lot of people that don't like you. You just don't know it. Because you're such an asshole, people don't want to talk to you and tell you. So.
And if you have a lot of confidence and you're one of those people.
Yeah.
Shit, I'll tell you, you're an asshole.
However, usually people that have the most confidence, they're not like that. They're not assholes. They're just okay.
I think people the most quiet people who have the most confidence are quiet.
They're like they
don't need to say a lot.
They see a J. John, and they go, "I'm passing up on that one, man. There's too much shit in there."
Oh God. Oh jeez.
Because they can smell ridiculous. It a mile away. So that's the thing.
That's funny.
It's about seeing a mess that you don't want to be in, or seeing a situation that might be very beneficial for both parties or all parties involved. So,
there was this comedian who once said, being a screwed up person is not such a bad thing. Because when the shit hits the fan, screwed up people who are usually pretty confident people, they move to the side when the shit hits the fan.
They do. Though they're gone before that because they can see it's coming. And you're standing there going, I can't run. I'm not able to run from this shit. Because my shit.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I do think I'm confident in other areas. I think I know I'm egotistical. I've been told that from time to time.
I believe you're humble in your confidence.
I don't know about that.
So,
Because you stick with it.
wouldn't
You're
humility
still a
be?
gentleman.
Wouldn't humility be the acceptance of your assets and your liabilities? Wouldn't it be that?
I guess, man.
That's a good. I always
We're
like
talking
that
about 6 and
definition.
7 stuff right there.
Like you said, you let
Yeah,
them be
you
who
could say
they
that.
are.
Yeah. We do step work shit here.
I took
still.
the good. I took the good with me.
I did too.
I took the good.
I
with
did.
me.
Whenever I'm in a situation that I think I'm in a jam in,
Yeah.
I think about the steps. Okay. Okay, this is a little bit out of my control. Okay, I can figure that out. Okay. All right, now I just gotta have some faith that the shit's gonna be okay. Put it in my higher power's hands. Fine. Good to go.
Whatever you do, right?
Right. All right, let's do an assessment. Like, I can take you through all the steps right now, and it
Right.
would be a long, drawn-out session, but that's what I do. I go through all the steps in a situation that's a little too hairy, a little too much for me to handle
Right.
at the time. And it tends to work out every single time I apply it.
Yeah.
And that's another big part of why I'm confident, because of the step work.
Okay.
And I mean, when it came to meeting women, never a thing for me.
Right.
Never a problem for me.
Right.
And because I'm a predator by nature. I go after the weak and wounded. Okay?
Damn.
I can smell them. Now.
The weak and wounded.
Yeah, now. I used to say that when I was in my 20s.
So the
I have to
rational,
repeat that.
the
Yeah,
rational
she had to put a
argument.
time in.
Yeah, okay. When I was in my 20s, I was a predator. I go, not like a child predator or anything. I have to say that. I slept around
All right.
quite a bit.
Okay, you're Mr. Hormone.
Well, I was in the
Right.
Marine Corps in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a testosterone-filled ball of anger and rage and hard-ons. I'm fucking angry because I have a hard-on all the time and I don't know what to do with it all the time. So my outlet was go to the bar, get drunk as shit, fuck anything within my perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just
Just get the fuck down.
Okay.
And I knew, and the reason why, I don't know, maybe it was the alcohol that gave me the confidence.
Maybe.
Because I would get anxiety as soon as I would go out in public.
So
all
you
the
had to be
time.
relaxed.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So I would put down 2 drinks before I fucking even talk to anybody.
Okay.
Okay. I shot Jack Daniels and a Bud Light.
Okay.
That's how I party. Okay.
All right.
That's how I get the
You got
fuck down.
loose. Yeah. Okay.
So, and if I saw somebody that looked like she was cool, looked like she was single, I'd watch her for a little bit.
All right.
You know, I'd see what her availability was. I'd look at her friends, see if, maybe they were already cock blocking other guys and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't see any activity go on, I walk up, I go, hey, how you doing? My name's Ryan.
Right.
And in turn, if they would say something back, bam, that's the start of the conversation. We're off to a good start. If they looked at me like I was a fucking maniac, I'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I came on too strong. Have a good night. And I walk away.
Right. We used to have
Easy.
back in the
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
70s.
Okay.
Let's say you're a shy guy.
Why would you say I'm a shy?
You're a shy guy.
Why?
You needed assistance of alcohol to ease you down.
Absolutely no, because I have social anxiety.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't be out in large crowds for long periods of time.
Okay.
I sound like a fucking bitch
So
that I say
if
that,
you-
but
so
that
if
shit
you-
just came
so
on
if
within the
you
last like
didn't-
5-6 years.
If you didn't, you would just go up to it and do your thing, right?
Yeah,
Without the drink.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just depending on the situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
When
Like
I was-
sometimes it would talk. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
Sometimes it would take me like alcohol to even want to be in the mood to fuck that night, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like sometimes I just wasn't in the mood, but then I'd have a couple drinks. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a little horny. All right, let's look around now. Let's see what we got. What are my options?
Hey.
All right, it's 12:30. She's still here. She's leaving.
All right.
It's okay. All right, let me check back at 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. She's still here. Oh, she showed up. She's about to leave. She's by herself. She might be staying longer. Okay, she can walk away for the rest of the time being. I'm going to go talk to her.
You plan everything out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
like moves, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So
like when people
it's
have
not a
their
fucking
coffee.
secret. I'm pretty sure other people do this shit
That's-
too.
Okay. In the
Having Starbucks in the morning.
in the community, we called that the game. They would call that your game. That's your game.
That's my game?
That's part of your game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, like
I'm a thinker.
I started with the rule of 25.
Oh, 1 out of 25 say yes.
Yeah. Well,
I have 1 out of 10.
Okay. No, here's the way that works. You go, if you're having a really, really unproductive night, but you know it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, try to figure out what's the unproductive. Because what's the, come on, hi, my name's Mike or Fred or whatever.
Right.
And what are you doing here? Or how are you doing? Or, you know, nice to meet you, right? Just shake your hand. Well, one is going to say yes. And some nights I felt especially good, so I would pick the top 5 in the room. And I usually didn't get to 3.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
cool. And it was because I was confused about 1 versus 2. 2 was really 1. So anyway.
Right. I figured out, for me, it was 1 out of 10. That's how it worked for me. I don't know why, but it was 1 out of every 10. I found out later on in life, like, me and Sky, fuck it, I just said her name, whatever. Me and my soon-to-be ex-wife were separated for a couple months, and I was bouncing at Toby Keith's bar. And when you're a bouncer at a bar, pussy tends to come your way quite often.
Every night?
Yeah. So I pulled a ballsy move one night. And this is about my confidence, okay? Pulled a ballsy move one night. The head of the bouncers says, look, we're going to have this game that all the bouncers are going to play. It's called Balls On. Okay, what's Balls On? Balls On is where you have to get a female to agree to let you put your balls on a part of her anatomy. Okay? No, not raw, just through the just jeans on jean or shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But it's your balls on her hands, balls on her knees, balls on her chin, balls on her chest.
Okay,
whoever gets 3 of them is like the grand champion.
Can she just grab your pair?
Yes.
Oh,
that's balls on hand.
That's
okay?
easy.
The second one I asked said yes. Okay. The second girl I asked.
Sure.
So I called up my boss on the microphone. I go, boss, I got one that's willing. He goes, he didn't say anything back for a couple seconds. He goes, get the fuck out of here. I was like, no. He's like, I'm on my way. I got to see this shit. So her name was Stephanie. I'll never forget. So I didn't promise her drinks. I didn't promise her anything. She was just willing to do this shit. So I go, all right. So balls in your hand. She goes, I go, balls on your knee. She puts her knee out. I stick my balls on her knee, right? I go, balls on your hand. She puts her hand out, right? So I dip my balls in her hand.
Okay.
I go, balls on your chest. And he goes, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And she just goes like this. She fucking holds her tits up, and I fucking put my balls on her chest. And he goes, can I do it? She's like, balls on my chin, baby. So I fucking put my pants on her fucking chin.
Interesting.
And he goes, lady, I will buy you drinks for the rest of the night if you give him a ball jiggle inside of his pants. Oh. And she fucking did it.
Of course she did.
Derek put up a tab for her for the rest of the fucking night.
Of course she did it.
Yeah. Dude, I was a fucking legend that night. That night I was a fucking legend.
Very memorable moment for you.
Yes, it was. I got a call. We're almost out of time. Fuck it. Oh wait, we got like 10 minutes. Yeah. But you know what? It's a good time to end this segment before I tell another fucking horrible story that's full of male toxicity. And
I got one little note for the end. Okay?
What's that?
So I was 23 years old. I hadn't been laid in 4 years.
Wow.
Most of the time I didn't give a shit about it, right?
Right.
And the rest of the time it just didn't happen. Right. So I had a party at the house I was living at. We had a big party. I mean, huge, 100 people there, right? All kinds of stuff, right? Lots of weed, lots of beer, the whiskey, and the other stuff, the powder stuff, and women. And so finally,
just say blow, dude. Just say blow.
Well,
it's okay.
There was all kinds of different powders.
Oh, okay.
Snow White without the dwarfs.
That's it. Anyway, so there's this one woman that I'd known since grade school that I always wanted to have sex with, always. And so I was like, I got to break the ice somehow, and I think I'll feel comfortable with her. So I walk up to her and I go, I'm ready to ask her, and she says, did you want something from me? I go, yeah. She goes, did you want me to spend the night and fuck you all weekend? And I said, yeah.
Nice.
And then I turned away and I said, you will? I did. I actually said, "You will?" And she goes, "Of course." She goes, "I've been waiting for you to do this for years."
Oh my God. Nice. Good shit. All right, Mondo, thank you for your story, sir. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome here.
Thank you for your contribution, sir. I appreciate it, Rob. You're just looking at me like you're ashamed of me.
No, it's just crazy.
Why?
No, I'm picturing it, yeah, as the bouncer. Yeah, that's what I was like, that has to be easy.
Oh, I got laid a couple
all you
times.
have to do is make an announcement, and if the girls want their drink, then yeah, they're gonna play along with it. But
that was the only time we did it, because that was the last time we did it, because I closed it out so strong.
But exactly, it went so further.
Yeah,
yeah.
I took it a level up.
Yes,
nobody could beat that shit.
Nobody.
Without
that
getting
moment
like
should be on a T-shirt.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Balls on champ.
Yeah.
19 or 2000. What was it? 2010.
What's
Balls
a-
on champ.
That's a
2010.
single take, man.
I'm gonna make it.
Why
I'm gonna
not?
make it on Snaptee and buy it.
Single take, legendary moment.
Oh, sweet.
There it is.
I feel like
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, we're about to get an interview with a gentleman named Brandon Levine here in about 15 minutes. We will see you on there. Welcome, everyone, to the next segment of Two Stone Dudes podcast. This is your co-host, Ryan Castle, with Mondo and Rob the Nod. And on the line, we have Mr. Brandon Levine. Is it Levine? Did I get it right?
Yeah, Levine.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I got it off the bat. Cool. So I'm doing this kind of stoned, so don't mind me. Like really high right now because we were smoking before we got a hold of you.
I would cheer you on.
Yes. Thank you.
Don't worry about me. I'm about to partake myself.
Nice. You already answered one of my questions. All right. So where are you from? And where are you from, and where do you live now?
So I am originally from where I'm from is kind of like a loaded question, actually, because I was born originally in Montreal, Canada.
Okay.
And my parents moved there when I was 4 years old. They moved from there when I was 4 years old to Phoenix, Arizona. So
Okay.
I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona for, I don't know, probably most of my life, like 20 years.
Okay. You know that's where we're at, right?
Is what?
You know that's where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you knew that or not. So you're not in Phoenix now. You're in New York, right?
Yeah, now I'm in New York City. I'm in North Jersey. It's not quite New York City. It's
Right. Right. I'm originally from South Jersey. I know exactly where you're at. So no shit. Wow, man. Oh, I don't envy you at all right now. I mean, do you not miss being here with the weather?
Yeah, I miss it, and I miss like my friends and stuff like that.
You got to come back, bro.
I think that's probably going to be the plan here.
I did it. Hey,
maybe
listen.
like a year.
I moved back to Jersey in 2012, and it was like the biggest mistake I ever made. And what do you call it? And when I came back, I was so much happier when I came back here. Like, things are so much.
Oh, I bet.
Things are so much slower. People didn't expect much out of you out here as much as they did in Jersey. I don't know. It was just a different pace. And the weather.
New Jersey is one of those places where it's like, I don't know, it's just on a different level than everywhere else. I mean, I'm out here right now and I'm learning a new career, and that's why I'm here. But eventually, I'm planning on coming back to Phoenix because I mean that's where I grew up. That's my home. So
nice. See, we're off to a good start already, man. Right on. All right, so we're gonna hit up current events and politics and conspiracy theories. So, do you believe in or subscribe to conspiracy theories?
absolutely.
All right, what's your favorite conspiracy theory?
My favorite conspiracy theory. I don't know. There's just so many, and especially like so many of them are circulating right now. I mean, I feel like they almost like lead into one another almost. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, talk about them, brother.
Well, I mean, so there's this big conspiracy theory that I guess, I don't know, I kind of made the connection myself, so there you go, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
What I think, I need to explain what happened to me on Christmas.
Go for it.
So I went to an Episcopalian church for Christmas.
Okay.
And what was interesting is the Episcopalian church, they were kind of doing like a little bit of a tribute to not only Washington, but they were, it almost seemed like they were kind of doing a mockery as opposed to a tribute to Jesus. And it seemed like they were kind of just mocking everything.
Really?
And I'm kind of just, and I thought that was a little bit, crazy at first, but then I looked at Washington, D.C., and I saw that same kind of mockery happening with all the monuments there as well.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, the founding fathers, they came to this country, and they essentially were Christians. They had Judeo-Christian beliefs.
Okay.
And or it is believed to be that they had Judeo-Christian beliefs. They all identified as Protestants, but
right.
Everybody has their own beliefs, more or less. But any president that has tried to stand up to the Pope or has tried to stand up to the church in any kind of way has been basically turned into a monument and deified.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah. So you have the Lincoln Memorial. It looks like the Temple of Zeus. You have the Washington Monument. It looks like an obelisk. You have the Jefferson Memorial. It looks like the Pantheon. And they're all, tributes to pagan worship for men who apparently believed in God.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Weren't some of the guys like Washington and Jefferson and I think Madison were deists? They were deists because they were Freemasons, right?
Right.
And so there's where your concept starts to get convoluted. The concept of the founders or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
No shit.
Yeah.
With deism, it's kind of like they believe. They believe very much in science, actually. Deism is actually a very much science-based type of thinking. It's almost as if, God was the great watchmaker. Right. And he turned the watch on, and the clock started ticking, and that's how the universe works. It's like
God doesn't
like
God doesn't care what goes on otherwise. That's
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're just this grand creator, right?
Wow.
That's Freemasonry.
So there's this whole, I guess, dichotomy when it came to deism and Freemasonry, and there's probably people who are on both sides of that dichotomy. Yes, and I think that's what we're seeing today. Yeah, I think we're seeing the dichotomy between really what people believe, and that very much what's happening today is over our own mind.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that.
Great. That's a great.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah.
Huh. Damn, brother. You got my fucking wheels turning. No shit, man. No shit. All right. What other conspiracy theories do you think about?
JFK is an interesting one. So is Lincoln.
Oh, talk to me about Lincoln.
Well, here's the funny thing about Lincoln is there was a quote from Lincoln saying that without the influence of the Jesuits, who we could go into those in a moment, without the influence of the Jesuits, the Civil War wouldn't have happened the way it did.
Okay, who are the Jesuits?
That's interesting.
Okay, so the Jesuits are kind of like. They're kind of like the Knights Templar, which the Knights Templar was that back in the 1200s, 1300s, they were a group of men who they fought for the Pope. They were the Pope's personal army. Okay. And what they used to do during the times of the Crusades is they would go around Europe and they would steal all these religious artifacts, and they would get put into buildings that they built. So they would take them from one church and put them into another church, or they would take any type of treasure and they would put them in their churches.
All right. So what does the Jesuits have to do with the Civil War?
I'm getting to that.
You have so sparked my interest right now. Holy shit.
What happened is all of this treasure was stolen into churches and was used as collateral to create the first banking system.
What?
And during the
Wow. Holy shit.
And during the Civil War, there was a group of people, particularly the Protestants, who wanted to escape from this system, and they wanted to develop their own sovereignty, they wanted to develop their own economy, and they had the means of doing so.
Okay.
So, the reason why Abraham Lincoln got killed is because he was trying to take these people out of power. And there was an actual trial that Lincoln testified against, where he was trying to, he wanted to arrest priests in Chicago for pedophilia.
Oh, wow. No shit.
Yeah.
Why is that not in, like, any history books?
Because they want you to think that the war was about slavery when it was so much more. It was actually a very much religious war. And it's hard to really say whether the Crusades even ended.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Catholics against the Protestants.
Mm-hmm. And in the Bible, that it doesn't have all the pages.
No shit. There's been like 2 Catholic presidents, hasn't there? That's it?
Something like that. And one of them was JFK, which, he identified as a Catholic, but he stood against everything the Catholics represented.
Right.
Now we got Biden, who's a Catholic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, Biden's
big,
Catholic? I had no idea.
Big time. Irish Catholic.
Oh, wow. No shit. All right.
Makes sense.
All right. So talk to me about Kennedy. Like, who do you think killed him?
I think it was the same people that killed Lincoln, basically. I think it was the church. Because Kennedy, he stood up against... The big problem with Kennedy is that he wanted to stand up against the establishment. And he actually had a method of doing that as well. What he wanted to do is he wanted to take the power of banking out of the Vatican's hands and put it back into the power of the people's hands.
Wow.
So the big problem that he had, the big thing that he did is he issued an order called Executive Order 01111, which issued silver certificates in place of the dollar. So in other words, basically what you could do is you could take the silver certificate and you could go to the bank or the government and you were directly able to redeem it for silver.
Wow. No shit.
And it was like that for a while. A dollar was worth a certain amount of money in silver, and that's why in the late 60s, you had silver dollars, and they were being handed out as currency.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Right. All right, man, let's switch. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Feel free to finish up.
I was just going to say that doesn't really happen anymore right now because, silver, like a silver coin right now is worth like $25 as opposed to $1. So it's been inflated like 25 times.
Oh, shit.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Huh. All right, man. Let's switch gears and talk about some current events. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
What are your thoughts on COVID-19?
What are my thoughts? I kind of think that it was all intentional, that it was all planned, and I think people are freaking out for no reason. I'm not going to say the entire thing is fake, because there are people who still get sick and people who still die of even coronaviruses, cold viruses and stuff like that. But what I do think is that this is being played massively out of hand for the benefit of really the left-wing government.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I think needed to, I almost think it needed to happen, you know.
You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah, I really think it needed to happen because what COVID-19 is an economic problem. It's not a health crisis.
Right. That makes sense.
So what if you think about it, 2017, 2018, 2019, we've been living in an economic bubble. Everything was doing great. Unemployment was low. Everybody was making money. People were buying houses. Everything was going up. Stock market, everything. Housing, everything. It's not a sustainable model. It really isn't.
No.
Right.
So, you have banks, and they just keep printing money and printing money and printing money, causing hyperinflation or inflation. Actually, technically, what we have is stagflation because there's a certain amount of the population that's still unemployed, but the Federal Reserve has continuously tried to print us out of economic problems before, and it has not worked. So what happened was we brought in this virus, and all of a sudden the Federal Reserve is printing more money than it has ever done before. And it's the devaluation of the dollar. That's what this whole stimulus has been about. That's what the economy crashing has been about. That's what this has all been about. It's about switching from one currency to another.
Do you think we're going to switch over to digital?
Yeah, paperless.
Absolutely think we're switching over to digital.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So having Bitcoin's probably like the best thing for everybody to get or some shit like that.
Let's see. I bought about $500 worth of Bitcoin at the beginning of the week.
Right.
This week, and I at least made another $100 on it.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
That was just in the past week.
Damn.
It went from like.
Yeah, my girl's got it, dude. Yeah, my girl's got it. It's $40,000 right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yep. All right. Let's go to Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Tell me what you think about Black Lives Matter movement.
So what do you want me to say about it?
Whatever. Do you support it? Do you not support it? Whatever your opinion is on it.
So I had an interesting experience, I'd say, with it. I got to go to the big Black Lives Matter protest that they had at City Hall down in Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
And I got to spend probably about 2-3 days there.
Oh, cool.
I didn't spend the night or anything, but I got to see what was going on, and it was interesting for a little while. It seemed like one second it seemed like a peaceful moment. The next second they were talking. The next second they were talking about rape. The next second they were talking about communism and defunding the police and stuff like that. And what it really ended up kind of amounting to is that I went to this event that I thought was supposed to be a peaceful event, and they kept on pushing different agendas.
Wow, no shit.
Sounds like the left.
Right.
Sounds like the left.
All right. Talk to me about President Trump's term.
Okay.
What did you think about it? How did he do? Are you a Trump supporter or not? Or
Yeah, I'll call myself a Trump supporter. It was funny when Trump first got elected. I was out there canvassing for a tax on carbon emission, and I just think about what a long way I've come, and my understanding of economics has improved over the past few years. And yeah, basically, Trump has done what I have wanted to happen for a very, very long time. I wanted somebody to go into Washington and basically flip the furniture. And I'm really happy something has happened because, you know, I feel like for many, many years, I felt like the government's just kind of been operating and it's kind of just been against the people for the longest time. And I feel like hopefully something will be changing this year and next year.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm happy about it.
All right. Talk to me about the George Floyd murder.
I think the whole thing was staged.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a first. Go ahead. Tell me about it.
So, I mean, there were a few symbols and a few conspicuous things that happened with the George Floyd murder. First of all, policemen don't work in ambulances, and policemen took away George Floyd in an ambulance. There were also apparently fixes on the mailbox. It was also apparently done on a street. I think it was done on 33rd Avenue or something like that. So it had Freemason connections. George Floyd was apparently a Freemason as well.
I've seen that on the internet. I've seen that on the internet before. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently this whole thing was conducted to make riots appear all over the country. And to cause just general instability. And, you know, I almost think it was needed in a sense because you have all these people with all this rage against the government and the economic system that we're living in, and it needed to be channeled. And you channel it into a movement that, well, it doesn't necessarily represent your political beliefs or not, but it needed to be channeled in some kind of way. And in many respects, that's what happened with the protests that happened a couple days ago, is you take all these people's pent-up frustration and you put it towards a certain cause and you just let people have it all out. Because otherwise, you're not going to be able to control them, and you get angry mobs.
Okay.
So,
talk to me about Joe Biden winning the presidential race.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, talk to me about Joe Biden winning the presidential race.
So yeah, I do think Joe Biden won the presidential race. However, I think the presidential race was over almost. This is kind of a complicated subject, actually, because Joe Biden, he got elected into office, but the situation in D.C. right now prevents Congress from doing anything.
Okay.
Basically, the way I look at it is that the whole building right now in Congress is surrounded by the National Guard, and the National Guard is under Trump's control.
Right.
And if two branches of government are really at odds with each other, like it seems that they are,
That's not true.
I think the National Guard is potentially keeping all those people
governor's control.
still inside the building and turning Congress into its own prison. Basically, they're all on lockdown because of the protesters, and they can't leave, and they're being protected to death, in a sense.
Okay. What do you think's next for the country?
I think something beautiful is going to happen. I think freedom is going to return back to people. I think we are either going to a digital. There's definitely going to be a digital currency. Whether there's physical coinage or not, that's another story, because we need a system that exists outside of the digital platform as well in order for our country ever be free. Because
Right.
one day they could just decide to shut off the internet and we're all screwed.
Right.
But the fact that you can issue currency and actual physical coinage, it gives a little bit of power outside of that system. So what I think is happening is we are headed into a new economic system. We are headed into a new economic order. And basically, I'm hoping that new system is going to be fair. And I hope that new system of governance that comes with it is going to be fair as well.
What do you think that system of government's going to be?
I almost think it's going to just be, I think it's kind of going to be like Star Wars. I think there's just going to be a Senate and a Speaker of the Senate. But I kind of think that this new system of government is also, they're going to be monitoring elections a lot better. Because the cool thing about digital currency is that you kind of get your own unique ID that comes with your wallet. And that unique ID can be used as an encryption code for the next election.
Oh, wow. Never heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, cool. All right, let's end this on a really, really good note. And this is my favorite part of this, Brandon. Tell me about your happiest memory.
Oh, my happiest memory?
Yeah.
There was one time I went down the coast with my family back when it was around my birthday, and we spent like this probably about 2.5 weeks going down the California coast, and I spent my birthday at this beach called Pfeiffer Beach.
Okay.
And I just remember, playing on the rocks there and having a good time with my sister and a couple people. And yeah, that might be my happiest memory. Just hanging out on the beach, playing with friends.
Nice, man. You had me going back to my days and like hanging out in Atlantic City and Wildwood. That was pretty awesome of you. Thank you so much for participating, Brandon. We really, really appreciate it. We'd like to have you back on. Keep in touch with us. And we will talk to you soon, sir.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, man.
All right.
Later.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is our outro. This is Ryan Castle from Two Stone Dudes Podcast with Rob Nod and Monty Homunculero. Sorry. I'm fucking high, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dig into those shrooms, man. I'm looking forward to that shit. So here's our outro. And all right, Mondo, you were saying, I don't know if the mic caught it, but you were saying a couple times that what he was saying wasn't true.
That's correct.
Okay. And you know this for a fact?
Absolutely.
Okay. So is he just getting some misinformation, you think?
Yeah. He's his entire dialogue, which I respect his right to have that dialogue, and I respect what we're doing here, having this type of dialogue exposed to the public.
Mm-hmm.
How people judge it is their own opinion. Mm-hmm. Now, the dialogue was totally peppered with some very innovative thinking and also completely delusional thinking.
Really?
No, he had no facts. He had none.
Okay.
Now, I didn't get asked the second question I wanted, which is, what do you know about modern monetary theory?
You should have asked him.
Well,
you didn't want to shake him up too bad, huh?
Well, I could tell when I asked the first question,
right?
Which is a very generic. What do you think that system of government's going to be?
Right.
And he had no answer for that.
He talked about the Senate.
He said the Senate, but he doesn't even. There was no conceptuality behind that.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, he would have went into it. Because
I thought it was another good podcast. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I thought it was a good podcast. But I think the guy he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Rob, what do you think about our guest?
Interesting.
Okay. I saw you get a little heated one time.
Some of his theories, I have to call them theories because, again, like Mondo, he didn't believe some of the things he heard, and I didn't believe either. But he did go in depth on some history there that did make some sense.
Yeah.
So I have to say it was very interesting, and I would like to have him on the show once again.
What I liked about what he said about the Catholic Church and all of that.
Yeah.
There was, and then
That's what caught my brow.
Then we did some lookup. Okay. But the way he explained it was perfect. He said there's a religious part, there's a political part, and there's an economic part.
Right.
And so he qualified that perfectly. He didn't say it was just the church that was the only conspiracy there.
Right.
And that isn't a conspiracy. That's the war between the Catholics and the Protestants that's happened.
It was vaguely mentioned, but they did a very good cover because of where this information is coming from.
Well, in the history books, unless you get into world history, okay, forget about U.S. history. I mean, world history, unless you get into it, you're not going to know that.
Right.
And those are electives in high school.
Right.
Those were electives. So, yeah, that was good what he had there. That was really good. But he was an anti-Freemason guy. He sounded like he was pro-Christian, pro-Protestant. He clearly was a Trump supporter. Okay. But the reason
told you, Rob.
You're right. You're right.
Told you.
The reason behind that wasn't clear. It was kind of an economic reason. We probably should have dug into that more with him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear that, but I was really going to be able to rip him on that, but I wasn't going to do it to him. You know what I mean?
Thank you for not doing that. I appreciate it.
The whole thing is
we got to give people their voice.
That's what you did.
Yep.
He gave him his voice. And he had a voice.
It's like he can be our new Bill.
Yeah.
Bill don't talk to us no more. So he can be our new Bill.
Bill won't talk to us?
Bill don't talk to us no more.
Why? Did you call him to talk to him? Or?
I tried calling him. He don't answer the phone.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, he got called out. Your dad called him out.
Probably.
Yeah.
So anyways. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Two Stone Dudes podcast. Air out all our dirty laundry for the week.
A man can't go out the way he came in. A man has got to add up to something. In our previous series on Carl Jung and the man-child, we looked at why the phenomenon of the man-child is so prevalent in our times. We argued that due to the demise of the traditional family and an absence of rites of initiation, many boys lack male role models to show them the way to manhood, and so they are emerging into adulthood stuck in what the authors Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette called boy psychology. In this series, we are going to provide a guide for how to outgrow boy psychology and attain manhood. To do this, we are going to look away from contemporary Western culture, which is overwhelmed by ideas which view masculinity as toxic, and approach the topic of manhood from an anthropological point of view. Drawing from David Gilmour's classic book, Manhood in the Making, we will examine what differing cultures across the world have thought regarding the question, what does it mean to be a man? The purpose of this examination will be to isolate the traits, virtues, and attitudes essential to manhood, thereby creating a map of manhood we can use to outgrow our boy psychology and achieve the benefits which, cross-culturally, are the prerogative of the potent man. In the present crisis of masculinity, we do not need, as some feminists are saying, less masculine power. We need more, but we need more of the mature masculine. We need more man psychology. We need to develop a sense of calmness about masculine power so we don't have to act out dominating, disempowering behavior toward others. To begin, we must differentiate between biological maleness and manhood. Practically all cultures across the world acknowledge that a man is a biological male by virtue of being born with male reproductive organs. Manhood, on the other hand, is not defined by the presence of physical characteristics alone. It must be achieved. The Aboriginal Fox tribe of Iowa call the attainment of manhood the big impossible, which only the masterful few can attain. Unlike biological sex, manhood is not a given but a prize to be won. As the 20th century American author Norman Mailer wrote, "Nobody was born a man. You earned manhood provided you were good enough, bold enough." Or as David Gilmour explains, there is a constantly recurring notion that real manhood is different from anatomical maleness, that it is not a natural condition that comes about spontaneously through biological maturation, but rather is a precarious or artificial state that boys must win against powerful odds. This recurrent notion that manhood is problematic is found among the simplest hunters and fishermen, among peasants and sophisticated urban people. It is found in all continents and environments. To understand why it is almost universally accepted that real men are made, not born, we must investigate what cross-culturally is considered the greatest threat to manhood: psychological regression. In contrast to other animals who emerge into this world with a certain degree of autonomy, the first year of a human's life is spent in a prolonged state of dependence on the mother. Just as a fetus is contained physically in the mother prior to birth, in the first year of life the infant can be said to be contained psychologically in the mother. From the perspective of the infant, the mother appears symbolically as the Great Mother. She is the child's world and the provider of love, security, warmth, protection, and the all-nourishing breast. After the first year of life, the child enters the stage which Margaret Mailer called separation individuation. The infant's growing awareness of itself as separate from the mother, coupled with an increase in physical mobility, marks the stage at which the child is expected to develop its autonomy and self-identity. While both girls and boys experience the growing pains associated with this stage of development, it is a stage which can prove especially difficult for boys. For while the girl's prior psychological immersion in the mother serves to promote her feminine identity, the boy, to achieve a masculine identity, must rescind his identification with the mother in the feminine world in order to enter the world of men. The special problem the boy faces at this point is in overcoming the previous sense of unity with the mother in order to achieve an independent identity defined by his culture as masculine. The girl does not experience this problem as acutely, according to this theory, because her femininity is reinforced by her original symbiotic unity with her mother, by the identification with her that precedes self-identity and that culminates with her own motherhood. In most societies, the little boy's sense of self as independent must include a sense of self as different from his mother, as separate from her both in ego identity and in social role. Thus, for the boy, the task of separation and individuation carries an added burden and peril. Throughout history, rites of initiation have assisted boys in the process of separation individuation. Through trials and tests overseen by male elders, the boy dies and is reborn a man. Femininity unfolds naturally, whereas masculinity must be achieved. And here is where the male ritual cult steps in. But in the modern West, adequate male role models capable of initiating a boy into manhood are few and far between. Many men are emerging into adulthood without having left the psychological womb of the mother. As a result of not being taught how to embrace struggle, become self-reliant, and engage in the ceaseless enterprise which cross-culturally is expected of the potent man, many men are consumed by lethargy, the desire to evade reality, and escape danger by seeking solace at the mother's side. They are succumbing to what Thomas Gregor in his study of the Mahunaku tribe of Brazil referred to as the desire to take the path back to fusion with the mother and the pleasures of infancy. Or in other words, they are consumed by what Carl Jung called the spirit of regression, who threatens us with bondage to the mother and with dissolution and extinction in the unconscious. In succumbing to the spirit of regression, we adopt lifestyles antithetical to manhood. One such lifestyle which Jung repeatedly warned of is what in mythological terms is referred to as the incestuous marriage to the mother, whereby one remains in the psychological womb of the mother well into old age. If this situation is dramatized, then there appears before you on the psychological stage a man living regressively, seeking his childhood and his mother, fleeing from a cold, cruel world which denies him understanding. Often a mother appears beside him who apparently shows not the slightest concern that her little son should become a man, but who, with tireless and self-immolating effort, neglects nothing that might hinder him from growing up and marrying. You behold the secret conspiracy between mother and son, and how each helps the other to betray life. Others consumed by the spirit of regression may break free from the psychological womb of the mother, only to adopt the lifestyle of Peer Gynt, which the psychologist Rollo May called the myth of males in the 20th century. Peer Gynt is the myth, that is, the life pattern, of a man characterized by two desires. One desires to be admired by women, and the other desires to be taken care of by the same women. The first desire leads to machismo behavior. A braggart, he swaggers and is grandiose. But all of this apparent power is in the service of pleasing the woman, the figurative queen, in order that the second desire be satisfied. These two desires are contradictory. The woman is the one who holds the final judgment and, correspondingly, the power over him. No matter how much he appears to be the swaggering master with his various women, he is in reality a slave serving the queen. His self-esteem and his self-image depend upon her smile, her approval. The spirit of regression can also lead to the adoption of harmful lifestyles not centered around psychological dependence on a woman. As Eric Neumann argues in his book The Fear of the Feminine, world weariness, neurotic sickness, or the placid acceptance of the commonplace in the attempt to avoid struggle, can all signify that the spirit of regression is active in our mind. Regressions of this sort give rise not only to typical anxiety neuroses and phobias, but also, and especially, to addictions and, if the ego is extensively destroyed, to psychoses. To break free from the spirit of regression and move towards manhood, we need to cultivate a heroic attitude. This attitude has been expressed in countless myths, one of the most notable being the dramatic tale of Tannhäuser and Venus. In this myth, the knight Tannhäuser is approached by the beautiful goddess Venus, who asks him to join her on the mountain Venusberg, where she promises his every desire will be satisfied by her and her attendants, the Naiads and Sirens. Tannhäuser accepts her offer and remains in this paradisal feminine world for a year, but soon he grows weary and is overcome by an intense moral conflict. Should he remain on Venusberg where his every wish and desire for pleasure is fulfilled, or should he renounce this passive independent life and once again embrace meaningful struggle in the world? After agonizing deliberation, Tannhäuser decides to leave Venusberg. I must return to the world of men. I stand prepared for battle, even for death and nothingness. Commenting on this myth, David Gilmour writes, "The knight has mastered the most primitive of the demands of the pleasure principle, the temptation to drown in the arms of an omnipotent woman, to withdraw into a puerile cocoon of pleasure and safety." In the next video in this series, we are going to examine in more detail what the heroic attitude entails and how we can cultivate it to escape psychological regression. By exploring how cultures across the world conceive manhood, we will construct a map of heroic manhood we can use in our quest to mature beyond the limiting confines of boy psychology. As we do, we will also learn why the claim that masculinity is toxic is not only misguided but dangerous. For manhood is not a tool of oppression. It is rather a cultural construct intended to promote the psychological development of boys into men capable of supporting the security and prosperity of a society. When the ideals of manhood are lost or distorted, a society becomes prone to dissolution at the hands of internal and external threats. As the often quoted saying by Michael Hopp puts it, "Weak men create hard times," or as David Gilmour summarizes, "Real men are expected to tame nature in order to recreate and bolster the basic kinship units of their society, that is, to reinvent and perpetuate the social order by will, to create something of value from nothing. Manhood is a kind of male procreation. Its heroic quality lies in its self-direction and discipline, its absolute self-reliance, in a word, its agential autonomy."